I believe I'm the luckiest person alive, but I also don't think luck is passive. I think you have to be actively lucky. So you have to be aware that luck comes by, willing to jump on it, and then able to accomplish it, right?
Welcome to the RV Entrepreneur Podcast, the weekly show for nomads, work campers, RVers, and entrepreneurs looking to earn a living or build a business while enjoying the RV lifestyle. This week's host is Glenn Willard. Let's settle in and enjoy the RV Entrepreneur Podcast, brought to you by RV Life.
Welcome to the RV Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Glenn Willard, your host this week, and today we have an incredible story of resilience, innovation, and the call of the open road. Our guest grew up farming and ranching in Colorado, a foundation that gave him the tools and tenacity to build a business on the forefront of a booming industry, custom campervans. We'll delve into his unique journey exploring how supply chain hurdles were overcome, how customer preferences shifted, and how he helped build a thriving business that ultimately led to a successful exit. Get ready to hear about the highs and the lows that defined one entrepreneur's ride in the custom camper van industry. Let's welcome Roberto Gutierrez, co-founder of Vansmith. Hello, Roberto, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. It's great to have you here today. I introed you already, and you are one of the co-founders of Vansmith. But before we get into Vansmith, let's rewind way back. And I want to know about you growing up in Colorado. And, you know, it's a beautiful, beautiful state. And it probably contributed a lot to, you know, where you went in life. So fill me on your background, and don't forget the PhD candidate.
Yeah, kind of a wandering road. So I grew up in a little town called Wellington, Colorado, up north. It's about half an hour from Wyoming. Like, we were way out there. But yeah, it was we had a little farm life, right? We grew up raising a few animals here and there, and then had a custom hay business where my dad and I would go out, and if somebody needed their hay cut or their bales bucked, you know, I'd strong back, weak mind type thing. And, we'd go out there and work our tails off. But, yeah, then from there, bounced around a bit. At that time was, pursuing, so I was an undergraduate in the University of Washington in Seattle, started in microbiology, and then ended up transitioning over to languages, studying Spanish. And from there, graduated, went to graduate school in San Diego, kind of a roundabout pathway there, but changed programs a couple times, and got a PhD in language and communicative disorders. So I studied bilingual language processing and helped rejuvenate a technique called pupilometry, where you monitor the diameter of a person's pupil, which is there's a uncontrollable response, that it's the harder you're processing, the larger your pupil diameter gets. But it's very macro, it's very tiny changes on the millimeter side of things. But you can link that to processing demands, and so we rejuvenated that, left that, and was a little disenchanted with academia, and started couch hopping, bounced around, let's see. So I was working with Insight Data Science, helping PhDs transition into industry. So we'd have some of the brightest minds in the world come in, PhDs in mathematics from MIT are now doing, their leading fraud at American Express or whatever. And so we connected those folks up. During that time, bumped into two people, starting a company called Oru Kayak, co-founded that. At the time, I had put myself through graduate school as a guide and a kayaker, and as a professional kayaker for a little bit. And so I brought the authenticity to this brand. And then we went to market, Kickstarter, Shark Tank, killed it at REI, globally distributed. Fast forward to 2021, that exited, and then shortly went public as part of another thing. While building that, my cousin Aaron and I co-founded the Vansmith in the parking lot of Oru Kayak in downtown San Francisco. So,
wow, no conflict there.
I'm sorry.
Wow,
yeah,
what a story! You've lived a life, man.
Yeah, thanks. It's been fun.
And I know the kayak brand. I've seen them on the road when I was full time. That's
nice.
Fantastic.
Nice. Yeah. It was a fun ride. That was mean, that was my first foray into like true entrepreneurism or whatever, entrepreneurialism. And so, but yeah, got the bug.
Oh, once you have it, you can't go back. I
Oh,
often say that I am unemployable because of being an entrepreneur. I can't go
yeah,
back.
yeah. My friend, he's like, for a minute I was trying to get a day job, and I was getting these interviews, and I couldn't close the deal, and I was like, I think I'm unemployable.
We're speaking the same language. All right. Wow. Okay, so pupil dilation. I don't mean to focus on this, but that's
Love it.
fascinating. And how connected to the vestibular ocular reflex is that?
Yeah, so it's similar. It's more like a reptilian response. So it's really it's a disinhibition is what it is. So it is a reflex, but it's a reflex that relaxes a muscle oddly rather than contracts or actively does something. So it's a very interesting, passive, uncontrollable thing that is super simple to monitor. So, but they're related. They're not identical. They're like same pathways, but they're not the same.
Is there a use for it and
For
testing?
pupilometry?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually gained a great deal of. So I worked with a couple of machines. There are a variety of them, but I was working with Tobii, which is Tobii, and they have Tobii and Dynavox are primarily in the research and communication. So for people who are wheelchair bound or quadriplegics and can only use their eyes, the eye tracking in these we're showing it around to try to show where you're looking on the page. They find the outside of your pupil in two spots. Then they find the back spot of it. They triangulate that, and that's where you're looking. So they get two spots, creating, they can get a circumference and distance. They've got your pupil diameter. So they're always collecting it. Nobody had done anything with it. So yeah,
that's fascinating.
The first documented, I forget the year, but the first documented scientific paper of it was Charles Darwin. He had fired a gun next to somebody and their pupils dilated. He was like, "What is that?" And so obviously a super observant human. And then later in like 1911, a researcher named Hess did this fascinating study where he showed pinup pictures to people and was able to determine their sexual orientation based on pupil diameter reaction to them, because it is an uncontrollable stimulus, and their excitatory responses were varied based on what they saw. Fascinating study.
Yes, it
But
is.
1911, mind you, yeah.
So far ahead of the curve. I mean, I could talk about that all day, but I don't think we should. We need to stick to
No, I love it. Yeah.
to camper vans and other things. Okay, so you conceived Vansmith in a parking lot of the other business. Again, not a conflict of interest at all. But what year was that?
2016. So we had,
okay.
I have a large family. I've got like 42 first cousins on one side and 16 on the other. But so my cousin Aaron and I hadn't seen each other. I think I'd seen him twice growing up, really, maybe more, but not a ton. And I was like, "How are things?" He said, "Yeah, it's all right. I'm in Wyoming. It's working in a coal mine." And he had left the military and it was just kind of like doing his thing. He's like, "I love skydiving and mountain biking, but coal mining sucks." And I was like, "Yeah, you don't say." But he'd been building a tiny home, and I was like, "Well, your house is awesome." We started chatting a bit more. I was like, "Dude, you got to come to Outdoor Retailer and meet my people and just hang out." And so he did. And we sat in a coffee shop just outside in Salt Lake City and came up with the idea for Runaway Van, which was the original company. And then due to some shenanigans along the way, we had to change the name. And then, so we sat down, he started building vans for friends, and we filed all the paperwork, got the bank account going. And fast forward to the next Outdoor Retailer. We're walking the floor, and Tommy Caldwell had just sent the Dawn Wall. And his agent's like, "You want a signature from Tommy?" And we're like, "Oh, we're not really signature people, but Tommy's a freaking legend. We'd love to get him a beer." And Tommy's like, "Yeah, for sure." So we just sat there and chatted for a second. "What are you up to?" He's like, "Well, I'm looking to build a van. Do you know anybody?" And we're like, "We build vans." And so our first big high profile van was Tommy Caldwell's family rig. And that really sort of put us on the map in 2017, 18.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What a cool story. Right place, right time.
Yeah.
And already doing fantastic work. How cool. Okay. So now we're talking pre-pandemic. And yep. I'm a camper van owner now. I know what the camper van industry is like today. I have no idea what it was like in 2017. What are we looking at?
It was a little, well, for us, we were getting our feet on the ground. So it was a little bit of scrambling. Like we converted, if it had four wheels, we converted it. Like we did an Astrovan, we did a Forerunner. We did all kinds of crazy things, and $500 jobs to $20,000 jobs, which we thought was big. Now our average conversion is like 85,000. So it's just we started that way. It was a mad dash, but there weren't as many. We had probably the biggest reach of any van builder in the U.S. for about 3 years. And then some of the old hats kind of caught up to us and got more savvy. They'd been generating more revenue, but like some of the more established or the more I don't know if funded is the right word, but the more like the people who built their business very well ended up catching up to us pretty quickly. But
For
out the
example,
gates, because like Titan Vans,
okay,
your bigger van builder companies like that.
Storyteller, Titan,
Storyteller,
yeah.
correct. And yeah, for a minute we outpaced just awareness because we had 200,000 followers on Instagram, and they had 30,000, and so we just got way more eyeballs. They all ended up, they ended up coming to the table with smart things like SEO, blogs, and so they ended up winning that. They partnered with companies. I think Fox and Titan are involved, and there's just a lot going on there too. So just some smart moves along all over the place. But beforehand, it was the wild, wild west. It was just sort of awareness based, and we were, I think we learned what not to do. Was the biggest thing that honed us in, to be honest.
Sure. I mean, it's almost like cryptocurrency is now. Back then,
yeah,
very Wild West. Yes.
Yeah.
So fast forward a little bit, you've got everything moving, and then COVID hits us, which, I mean, this is near and dear to my heart because it changed the entire trajectory of my life, based on my business. What happened? How did you pursue that? And do you think that it helped you or hurt you?
So there was a little bit before the COVID side of things that year we used to, I mean, even just in Vansmith, it was wild, but in my personal life, it was crazy as well. But I used to say that those 2 years was the longest decade of my life. But in 2019, somebody broke into our shop, and inside job, we think potentially, but broke into our shop, broke the keys off the wall, took a bunch of vans, broke through the wall of the neighbor's shop, loaded up the vans with all of our tools and the trailer from the neighbors, put a bunch of welders on it and took off, and then tried to come back, but the police had been called by that point. And so we lost all of our machines, all of our tools, all of everything. The next, so we're reeling from this. Fast forward to like a week later, we get a cease and desist on the name, which we should have ignored, but we ended up having to change our name and refile everything as DBA, yada, yada. So we now have rebranded, all that's going on, and we get connected with Omaze, and Omaze gets us some serious awareness. They're a fundraising group for nonprofit organizations. So, for example, you enter $1 in a raffle for a chance to win a van. If 200,000 people do that, you've raised $200,000. One person who put $1 in wins a van. And they got us some huge exposure, connected us with some other folks. That all happened, and then COVID hit. So we went from, oh my God, we're going out of business. Oh my God, we have so much exposure. We don't know what we're called, to, oh crap, we can't go into the shop. We can't buy glass. We can't get a hold of electronics. Like, the world is shut down. What do we do? And then there was the 3 or 4 or 5 months later, where we were booked for 2 years straight, right? Like, we were like, crap, we had to scale. We doubled our business size. We jumped up in all these things and went from, whatever it was, $750,000 in revenue to $3 million in revenue type thing overnight. It was like, oh goodness. So it was a big year for Vansmith.
That was a long 2 years.
Yeah. I mean,
long decade.
Yeah, it was correct. It was fun. I mean, it was a wild ride. Looking back, you're like, good Lord, but
looking back, it's a great story, but it was not fun at the time.
No, it was not fun at the time.
So how did you overcome some of these, like supply chain issues? I mean, you've got massive orders now because everybody wants to be outside and away from everybody. And I get it, but
Yeah.
you couldn't buy anything. What'd you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, the two biggest things, so the supply chain was interesting. But the two biggest things, when we lost all of our tools, like our saws, everything, we had to find somebody else to do it for us because we already had orders, which immediately forced us to digitize our designs and go to CNC. That allowed us to react to most of the other things going on, where we could say, hey, look, we can't do your windows today. We'll build around it. We'll do whatever. But the fact that we could go around the corner to the shop that we were getting the work done and have all your cabinets done in a day, well, you get the point. That changed, that like revolutionized our little business, from having it, what used to take, I don't know, 4 or 5 days with 3 people cutting wood was now, 1, done not by us, and 2, just showed up. And so that was the biggest thing. It allowed the flexibility. So the loss of all of our tools, which sucked, mind you, and the whole like being violated by people breaking into your stuff, not cool. But on the plus side, it forced our hand into like a digital world of van building, and now everything lives in CAD, right? It's all done there. So, but supply chain, still a pain in the butt.
Sure.
There were things, we had vans that were literally waiting for like a side window for 4 or 5 months, 6 months. And, so yeah, it was crazy. But
how was that perceived by the customer?
The one thing with COVID was that we were all in it.
Yeah.
And so you could say, look, and we weren't making it up, right? There's an honesty component too. Like it's sitting in LA and it can't move. We've paid for it. We're in the hole. We're losing money. You can't have your van. We're losing money. I don't know what to tell you. When is it going to show up? We'll tell you when it does. I'm so sorry, right? Like, so there was some solidarity in it. Certainly had some tough calls and whatnot, but I think the reality for us was though COVID itself, like the shutdown window, the lockdown window was hardest to operate. The purchasing really picked up as the world opened up a little bit, because as the world opened up, the markets took it like it wasn't good. And then the markets recovered, and people need liquidity or assets to pay for these things. And so when the market started turning, when the world started waking back up, that's when we saw the acceleration in purchasing. And so that timing wasn't terrible, right? It kind of coincided with things recovering. And that's when we saw our real growth.
Yeah, that makes sense. A camper van is not something generally that you have built that you finance. You need liquidity.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when the markets are
right,
shut,
like
go ahead.
Totally. Like going camping and visiting, Zion, or going backpacking, those things skyrocket immediately.
Yes.
The bike sales shot through the roof because, okay, fine. Even an expensive bike, you're talking 10 grand, right? Like, okay, that's a lot, but you can still get a hold of a good one for $800 and go have a great time. But like, you're going to throw $80,000 into a conversion and 70 into a van.
Yeah.
You gotta have some flexibility.
Yeah. You got to have the liquidity there and the funds available to write that check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Wow. So the sales are skyrocketing. You can't do anything. How did that affect like your customer service? Were you able to really zero in because of that situation? Yeah, we're all in it together, but now you've got to communicate this to the customer so frequently that you were able to just like refine everything you said to your customer. And I make this comment based on some of the testimonials I see on the website, which are fantastic, and they're video-based testimonials. So you were doing something right.
Yeah. I think it was, honestly, if I had to, I mean, it's my management style a little bit. I'm sure if you talk to a true like operator, they'd say something slightly different. But from where I sit, we invested in our people. We doubled down. We offered for the top performers and the people we knew we needed to hang our hats on, or like who we needed to run it. We invested in them as much as we could. We offered shares and equity. We offered things of that nature. We had, little things that went a long way. Like we had a financial advisor come in and say, hey, here's how you save for a home, so on and so forth. So we by doubling down on our people, they then believed in the company, and it made that customer service skyrocket above and beyond. This is again my opinion from sitting in the seat I sat in, but that's it, right? I think it for us at the time, Becca was our salesperson, and she just, we very quickly realized how incredible of a person she was. She now works at a different van conversion company, but she, she's still one of my dear friends, and she just stepped up. It didn't matter what or when or where. She was just always there. And Aaron, same thing. He was always my cousin. He was always available for people too. So I think that's what it was, and that just sort of became how we operated, and that was our sort of customer service difference, I think. So.
You nailed it. That's incredibly telling, and it's one of those things I live by in my business. Our staff, to me, they were my family. You pay above industry standards. You're there for them, everything they need. You go above and beyond, and they would make comments like, what I like, Glenn, is that we don't work for you, we work with you. And it's always making them feel that way. And that got passed on to the clients, which always got the 5-star reviews nonstop. So you did exactly the same thing. Could you and I teach some other businesses this so that they can... I see a marketing opportunity here.
I love that. I mean, we talked about, I think I got the first time we had a barbecue and the whole team got back together after COVID. It was kind of an emotional thing, right? There's a lot going, you've been through a lot, and we're like, holy crap, this was 3 people a year and a half ago, and now it's 15 of us. It's pretty neat. So
isn't that cool?
The best.
It is. How hard was it when you were restricted and you guys couldn't go into the shop during that period of time? Did everything just stop for you?
There was about 2 months where things just stopped. But at that time it was still 2 people building and 1 person selling. And so it was so small. Yeah. We just went under the radar in part. And also half the time there's 1 person in a, 3,000 square foot shop with with dust. What are you going to do? You're probably safer there than you are picking up your food at Whole Foods on the curb, right? It's fine. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Just slowed down, but yeah.
Well, it was a reflection time, I suppose, for all of us.
Yeah.
It certainly was for me. During that time, because more people started remote working, more people started getting outside, and the national parks became overwhelmingly busy. Did you see a change in what people were ordering in their vans, styles of build?
I think the general yes and no. Yes. Okay. So we had always hung our hat on the cedar ceilings, the shiplap tongue and groove style ceilings, which was sort of a signature look of ours that continues to be that. So we drew in a lot of folks with that. I think the biggest changes were a move away from industrial looking things. So what I kind of jokingly call the toolboxes of van conversion, and then also the just RV style where it's fabricated and slapped together and it's built to be manufactured, not built for spec or custom. And so what we saw then was people knowing what they wanted, having done an incredible amount of research and asking for somewhat ridiculous things, but very nice. We did a van one time that had I want to say it was 1,500-year-old piece of Peruvian art that was inlaid into a table, right? And I think that table cost $3,500, right? And so there was just this, I want this, I have the time, this is where I am, I'm investing in it. And so there was an elevation of quality requests from hey, I need 2x4s and want to sleep in this, to this bamboo countertop, it better be perfect.
Yes. Wow. Are you able to accommodate almost anything anyone asks?
Within reason. We've had people ask for hot tubs, literally, or bathtubs, and it's I have questions for you. First and foremost, where's the water coming from? um, and so like some things are a little out of the out of the possibility, but we've done most things. We actually we're on a Netflix show called, oh my god, it's something sex room. I'll have to look for it, but we're on but it's like creating my own sex room, and we converted a van specifically for two people for this show to create a safe space for them, and the van has got like some pretty unique features in it, right? So yeah, I have to look up the Netflix thing here.
The images that come to mind and the
Oh, it's so
cliches
good.
that come to mind that just are endless.
Yeah, How to Build a Sex Room is what the show's called. And
Fantastic.
so, yeah, it's a neat show. It's like people finding a safe place and a place that's their haven where they can do, the things that make them who they are, and
Sure.
not make them who they are, but make them comfortable with who they are at times. And this one was awesome. It had like a really cool bed on top and some fun stuff inside. But yeah, again, we were very flexible there. It's not very common, but typically the questions are like custom dog kennels or wheelchair ramps or whatever.
Sure.
So, but for the most part,
I think you fulfilled the extreme there. I mean,
yeah. We've also done what we called it, command center. So it's an undercover surveillance van
cool.
for police departments. We've done so like we span the gamut there.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, this is not entrepreneurial, but obviously you have one of your own. What features are you happiest with?
I haven't had a van in a long time.
Seriously?
So yeah, my van was the very first van, and it's the one we sold to start the business.
Okay.
So Aaron was like, hey, I don't know quite what. I was like, here's the deal. Come sleep on my couch in San Francisco. Well, we were in Sausalito, in tiny, tiny little spot. I was like, sleep on my couch, drive into work. I'll work on van stuff. And if you have questions, I'll hop out. Convert my van. Here's a budget of $2,500. If you can do it in a month, we'll sell the van and use the money to start a business. So that was basically what we did. He crushed it. I got some nice content out of that. He took out some of his own money and then got the thing going in Colorado. So we spun it up in Colorado after that. But yeah, the first van was my only van. That would have been 2016, 17, I guess. So
wow. Is it still in Colorado, Vansmith?
Yeah, Boulder based. So we're just up the hill from Boulder.
Nice.
Yeah.
Busy area. But yeah.
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 It's a hub.
Yes, it is. Man, I'm shocked that you don't still have a van. I find it is like the ultimate beach mobile now that we have it. There's nothing like having your bathroom with you and your kitchen everywhere you go for day trips.
Yeah, we debate all the time what to do, but no van, not right now.
All right, fair enough. Is that where the social media following started? Was that first van?
Yeah, so we actually, it was kind of interesting. There's Van Life Diaries. We connected with them. We built a van for one or two of their people. That helped get us sort of groundswell based on this original van conversion, which I think was called Van Francisco. And we had done we did some, looking back, some very clever things, but we reached out to Jeremy Collins, who's an awesome artist, does this incredible line work. If you haven't seen his stuff, just please go check him out. But one of my favorites, and we had a piece of artwork that was a woman's face that turns into a buffalo. My cousin and our heritage is in Wyoming, and it's a beautiful piece, but it sort of harkens back to the Wyoming. And on the other side was a compass that points to nowhere, right? So it has no direction. And then a wandering person heading up towards a mountainscape was on the table. And those were all laser etched in. And we told some very fun stories like that. First van was sold to a person who was renting. That actually really amplified our reach too, so that people could try it before you buy it. And it was just dumb luck, honestly. That person's brother ended up working at Outdoorsy, early on there too. So that spun up some of that as well. It was just a little bit of dumb luck, right? Again, I believe I'm the luckiest person alive, but I also don't think luck is passive. I think you have to be actively lucky. So there's a whole other conversation there, but a lot of luck involved. And yeah, from there, those vans were beautiful and drew the attention of some folks, and that's sort of where it started. So We also, every van we built, we set up a social media account and took professional photos of. So if you bought for example, Van Francisco came with a populated Instagram account that you could then share, because at the time, that's what everybody wanted in part. And so every van we launched for the first 3 or so years came with its own account and populated with some content out the gate, so that it was like, here's your van if you want a van life, if you're ready to go. So
that's freaking brilliant. Whose idea was that?
Yeah, it was ours, I'll say. We worked on it, but yeah, it just made sense. So
makes a lot of sense. Wow. I would not have thought of that. And back to the luck, luck does not happen to you unless you put yourself out there. So
yeah,
I'm with you there.
Yeah. You have to be willing. You have to be aware, willing, and able. So you have to be aware that luck comes by, willing to jump on it, and then able to accomplish it, right? So
yes. Yeah. Recognize that luck. Don't turn your back on it.
Ever wished you could learn more about RVing from the experts? With RV Life Masterclass, you can. Gain access to a wealth of knowledge through online courses and a resource library filled with insightful guides. Whether you're a novice RVer or a seasoned traveler, there's always something new to learn. Start expanding your RV knowledge today by visiting rvlife.com.
What I've always wondered is, back to camper vans, is how do you come up with your pricing structure? I know that's a loaded one, and that's a big one, and everybody wants to know.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. So basically, you look for out the gates. We were basically just selling them for the cost of materials because we weren't paying anybody ourselves. And then now you have to take into consideration all the operating costs and margin and markup. So you look at shop costs. You look across the board too. So you look at adjacent industries. So what is the average shop cost at a mechanic? It's like $175 if you get your windshield replaced or oil changed or whatever it is. That's their hourly. Okay, that makes sense. I wonder why they do that. And so they have similar spaces and overheads and revenues. So you look at comps, and then you build in margin on mostly in the labor space. I know this is a little peeling back behind the curtain here, but it's very tricky to mark up product because the consumer has a ton of visibility into that, and you don't really want to hose them there. If you get a discount, you typically, that's where you play with your margin for them, but you're not marking up any of the product very often in the line items. It's typically going to be in the labor. Okay. where you it's not a markup at that point. It's just literally the cost of doing business, right?
Sure.
And so then you have economy of scale and it starts working. Building one van at a time doesn't work. Building four at a time does work, right? So things like that. But yeah, we are really transparent with our pricing. And so, but we're also sticklers. Somebody's like, hey, I've got my own fridge. Can you take the fridge off? We're like, no, we don't. I'm very cool that you found a fridge. We didn't buy it. It's not insured. It's not covered. We didn't get it from our supplier. We love you, but no, we use our fridge. And so you get our prices, and that's how it works, right? So
do you find your customers cool with that?
The amount of transparency we provide, yeah, and I don't think it's so very different from anybody else out there, right? Like the checklist line items for our estimates and quotes are 3 pages long sometimes. It's just the amount of stuff going into it. Like lumber will be one chunk, but your cabinets will be broken out. Your all of your consumables, tapes, screws, whatnot will be in there. But yeah, it's pretty broken up. Electrical by cable by wire, not individually, but like this is your inverter, this is your battery. There are 2 of them. Here's your cabling or wiring, whatever you want to call it. So
sure. And this is very different than going and buying a storyteller. Very different.
Yeah. And it's tricky, right? Because they're able to just bunch it, finance it, and pat you on the back. So just a different experience.
Yes. Well, I mean, custom is custom.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for that. I assume you still treat the team the same way you did pre-COVID, post-COVID, and really take care of your staff?
We do our best. Yeah. It's been, we had, transition of ownerships, and then Aaron, my cousin, stepped away. So it's a very different team. But we have quarterly, not happy hours, it's what I'm looking for, open houses where we invite the community to the shop, and we'll have, I think the last one we had 65 or 70 people at it just passing through. We work with our local breweries and they donate beer and this, that. And so we get the team together, they get off early and whatnot. And there's annual activations and events and stuff. So we do everything we, possibly can. It's with kind of our world ebbs and flows with the economy. Again, we talked about it a little bit,
Sure.
but in harder times you buckle down and whatnot. But I think that rather than being built on the touchy-feeliness that I had built, it's built more on objective goals. So, hey, if you accomplish X, you stand to make Y. Where mine was like, I can give you a little bit more here, but like I can't promise you much. Where this is like, no, you build these 10 vans and you get this type thing. And so it's a different approach, but it's still very employee-centric.
What do you think's better?
I think that they each have their places in the businesses at different times. So 0 to 5, like in growth, 0 to 5 million, you have to get. I don't want to say that way. You need everybody to be operating at 110% because everybody's going to be doing so many things. There's no specialization. Once you start specializing, people need to be driven to do their job and task and goal. So early on, I think that like warm fuzzies. That's why early people get equity, right? That's why people end up with those types of arrangements. Yes. So I think that they need to go together. I think that I'm better at the former.
No, that totally works. And, under 5 million, the warm and fuzzies work. After that, the way to scale really is the true incentive that is written down in black and white.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. That's, can you tell me what the transition, the sale of the business was like?
Yeah. So the new owners are Eugene and Karin. They're a wonderful couple who we met and got to know quite a bit before an exit, and a lot of it was based on how well we all got along. Frankly, obviously the business had its value, and they brought to the table their half of that. So there was that side that we spent 6 months negotiating, but no, the transition was really good. Again, a much more analytical, structured operation oriented, which we're like, oh my gosh, yes, please, that's what we want. And so it's been, I think that just the amount of change has been added some tumults or chaos, and now we're starting to level off, and sales are better than they've ever been type thing. It just took a little bit of a time in the transition period. So there's always a bit of chaos there. So.
And you maintained a percentage of the company that you mentioned earlier. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm still I'm involved as a half-time CMO instead of full-time. But yes, I've maintained a small portion of equity as part of the deal as well.
Does that feel weird to have your baby run and owned by mostly someone else?
No, it's not the first time I've done it,
okay.
So it's less weird. I think for Aaron, it was like shocking at first because it was as much as it's my baby. Aaron was the lifeblood. He is the heartbeat. He is the brand. My talent is not to be the talent, is to aim. Like I always say, Aaron is the sun. My job is to aim the sun. Right? If you can aim the sun, you've got a powerful tool. And so my job was to aim the sun. Aaron is just pure innovation, energy, drive, intelligence, like all of it. He had an incredible design eye, still does. And it was just my job to keep him on track. Right. And so for him, he was the brand. Like he'd get recognized places. We'd walk in and they're like, oh my gosh, you're that guy type thing. And so I think it was a bit more of a transition for him out the gates, where for me, it was, being remote, also not as shocking, but.
Sure. I mean, that paints a nice picture, and it makes it appealing.
Yeah, so. Yeah, it's interesting though, right? Like when you hand it off, as I said, I've three now, three exits now, and hopefully in 15 days. But it's just interesting. Every one of them is different.
Sure. I'll never forget the day I walked away from the last day and handing the keys over. I cried on the way out. I'm like, this has been 20 years that I built this baby into this. And it was really hard.
Yeah. I think the interesting things, like, so we had built, the show van was Aaron's van for the longest time. I think when he sold that van, as kind of as part of the transition, because we were moving away from that vehicle, so on and so forth, that build, I think that was the physical manifestation of it, right? Rather than the transaction where he still showed up to work every day, and the DBA was slightly different in the paperwork, but other than that, who was signing the paychecks, but otherwise it was still the Vansmith. But when he got rid of that van, I think that was he certainly cried in the parking lot.
Oh, I bet. Wow, man. So where do you see the camper van industry going now as things keep changing and the demand keeps changing?
Yeah, so I think there's going to be, there was an over indexing, right? Much like the bike, well, much like many industries, but the bike industry was overstocked, and I think the RV space where they were manufacturing became overstocked. And even, I mean, if you keep an eye on the Boulder area, there'll be, any given day, you do a search, there's 25 van builders in the area. 5 of them stay the same, and the other 20 kind of change every year. And so there's a little bit of that going on. I think that people have gotten much savvier with the design aesthetics that they're putting in. It's not just, there's function and form are starting to meet differently, which is great. There's a lot of influence from Europe, which is finally happening.
Yeah.
I think smaller vehicles are going to get back in vogue. But yeah, I think for the longest time, van builders chased or just built on platforms. And now the platform builders are like, wait, there's an industry here. And so they've adjusted, causing the van builders to have to adjust as well, which is good. The symbiotics there will be great.
Yes.
But that's a change. I think that you'll have your big dogs doing their thing. You'll see the medium size like us and others start to do more RVIA certified, true camper vans that are financeable, things like that. And then you'll see the young folks, or the young bucks, or whatever you want to call them, just trying to innovate, making their way. Sometimes it'll be brand, sometimes it'll be product, sometimes it'll be other. But I think the industry is normalizing. It's going to shrink. It's going to shrink a little, I would guess. It still continues to grow, but it's not the same rate. But you're still talking about, what is it? I think a $6 billion industry. So, carve out your 0.03% and
exactly
get on. Yeah.
Yeah. Even 1% would be fantastic. It's doable. It's doable.
Yeah.
Goodness. Would you suggest any new entrepreneur that is thinking about getting into the custom van build, would you say, nah, this is not a good time? Or would you say this is actually a great time?
It depends on their approach. If you're just another van builder, good luck. Like, if you're building something like a dynamic space that allows you to quickly transition it into the rental or something like that, or has something more, I think you're great. Again, it could be brand based too. It could be like, I don't know, like if Tommy Caldwell and a friend were going to launch a van company and it had some like climbing specific spin on it, yeah, go for it. Like, absolutely, you've got a story to tell. There's not a ton of innovation in that, but there's a great brand, great recognition and story. So, I think having a point of view is the most important part on that. And then, all the other things you don't mention, like operating and actually doing it, which is not as easy as.
So true.
Yeah. Everybody likes to do the must be nice thing. I'm like, yeah, no idea.
The amount of work that goes into this.
Oh man.
And the no pay for a year and the blood, sweat and tears and,
totally.
and the bad customers totally. And yes. It's,
lawsuits, and I mean, paying
yes.
for like trying to get to work and taking change out of your change jar to pay for gas to get to work because payday's tomorrow and rent was yesterday. Like, yeah, it's nobody.
They don't
Yeah,
see that.
a lot of must be nice out there.
The call from the attorney general saying, I hate it when you
Oh
lie
my
to me,
God.
you know, literally from the attorney general. I hate it when you
Yeah.
lie to me. I'm like, I'm not lying. I'm sending you, my attorney is sending you all of my stuff. Yes,
All
they
that
don't
stuff,
see
yeah.
those things.
No, it's terrifying. There's a whole nother story, the nightmares of it all. But
For sure. Are there any like really big mistakes that you made that you, in hindsight, that you should have done differently?
yeah, I mean, my like marketing spin is it's only a mistake if you don't learn from it. So it's hard to.
Okay, the biggest lesson you learned.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for now here. I think we always had the like keep the main thing mantra, but we did a bad job of it. We at one point tried to spin up a Metaverse van token that could the whole idea was that it was going to be one that allowed you to transition travel between metaverses. Some tokens are action based, some are just commodity or whatever type based, art based. And this was one of the action based ones. We didn't need to spend 6 to 8 months developing that. Like, had it worked, sure, cool, awesome, but like we should have probably just put our heads down and designed some stuff. Right?
Something entire, doing the real world asset tokens, and that's a whole different business.
It's a different business, right? And we're like, this is neat and fun, and we knew a guy, and that was like it came across our radar. But had we just again taken that same time to do what we should have been doing, we probably could have come out of that in a position to actually do that instead of let that be a time suck. So I think the shiny object was probably our biggest ongoing kind of mistake. But that's me. That's my personality generally, though. So
it's a good story, and it really does. If you have one thing you're doing, stick to it and keep doing it well, and focus on how not just improving it, but how can you expand it, not 5 other things.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, and then condensing that, like boiling that down to its truest form is the hardest part, right? Like,
yes.
Yeah, it's just trying to understand that, like, what are you actually good at? What are your core tenets? Because when you start a business, you have a bullseye, a target, and that's just a target. You're probably going to miss, but it gives you direction. And then you pick up your head 3 years later and like, what the hell are we doing here? Where are we?
How did we get here? And I threw the wad of paper over there, and it landed over here, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. So, but you can't be stubborn enough to be like, well, we said we were going to do this, so we should fix it. It's like, no, maybe find a happy, like, course correct slowly, but
the true entrepreneur course corrects as they go. They course correct the way the public demands and their customer demands them take them. So what do you think, like, the most rewarding part so far of all of this from Vansmith that you've obtained
from Vansmith,
or the whole life?
Honestly, the whole life. God, I don't know. I'm again too damn lucky, but no, honestly, from the Vansmith, the relationship with my cousin. He's one of my best friends in this world, and I didn't really know him beforehand, and we still talk like twice a week just for cuz, he doesn't work there. He's a pilot now. He's a flight instructor, he's commercially piloting, but just that's been awesome, man. Like, we've traveled the world together, adventured together. It's just stupid fun things you never thought you'd do. So it's cool. That's my favorite part.
That is not what I expected to hear. And doesn't that like underline the value of human connection, of how freaking important that is?
And it's, I'm in the midst of launching another business now, and the person I'm working with is just a person I had a chat with one time. Was like, we should get beers every month. And fast forward 4 years, and we're in the middle of raising money. It's like, just I don't know. I love that stuff.
Getting beers I love it. Wow. So what can you tell us about your plans for the future?
Yeah, I mean, at the Vansmith, we've got the general scaling. We've redone our product line, which has been awesome. I think it's finally, that was one thing I didn't do a very good job of, but we've redone it. The new ownership has really nailed the consumer needs in the product offering, like our core offering. And so I think you'll see that grow and develop. But I think you're going to see some fun innovations in just nuanced design changes, right? So some fresh takes on beds, cabinetry, storage, that are subtle but important. You can't fake 10 years of experience, and so that's what you'll get. So I'd say that, and then scale. We've started bringing things in house. We've got, we're doing a lot of our own manufacturing. We now have our own CNC machine. We have our own, digital team there. We've got just operationally the 2.5 times bigger warehouse than when we sold it. Like it's just general investment in scale and operations to, what used to be a 6-month process is now a 6-week process. So
isn't that cool how it goes so much faster as you scale up?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see happy customers too. So
it feels incredibly good.
Yeah.
Selfishly on my website, one of the top ranked terms where one particular blog that I wrote several years ago, the number one is a camper van that sleeps 4. Are you guys building anything? And I'm telling you, it gets hundreds of hits a day. What do you?
Yeah, we have, so on our product lineup, we've got the duo lineup, which is for 2 to 3 people, and then the family lineup, which is for 4 to 6. And so the biggest one we've ever done is an extended sprinter that slept in set 7,
wow,
which was crazy. It had a pop top, king size bed, bunk bed, and then 2 bunks up front. And so it was pretty crazy setup, beautiful van, but that was the biggest we've done. But yeah, that was a huge. The new owners are family. They have family. And so they were more conscientious of like how many people out there. We had built them for ourselves, right? Adventure mobiles, and that's what you do. You solve your own problem in business typically. And so they brought another stronger push on the family side.
Say that again. You solve your own problem in business. I love that. I'm gonna use that as the intro. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, so for Oru Kayak, my co-founder, he wanted a kayak but had nowhere to store it, so he developed an origami kayak that folded up, right? So he solved his own problem.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, 7 people in a camper van. Water capacity, how much?
That one, I think there were 2 tanks, so probably 50 gallons.
Wow, in a van.
Yeah, I mean, you run out of storage pretty quick, though. So, that one was tricky. You can do external, but our typical, so our standard is, our smaller is 20 and our standard is 30 gallons. So, and then 5 for gray, and depending on how you're set up elsewhere. But yeah, that's just our standard.
Good. Water's always that most important thing. We spent 2 years boondocking out on BLM land, and we had 105 gallons of water with us all the time. And I could go 10 days in a family of 4 on 105 gallons. I mean, you're showering every 3rd or 4th day. Who cares what you're doing at that point? But
totally.
But that's what I always see in some of these, the Winnebago vans and that. I'm like, yeah, you've got 15 gallons of water. What are you going to do?
Yeah. The tricky part with all of those is people like to design for the extremes and not for the use case, right? So you were boondocking, going 10 days off grid. You're in the 5% of van users, right? Like 95% are, I would say half of our vans have never felt dirt on their tires.
I bet.
So yeah, it's such an interesting conundrum there. You have people come in with like, I want, electricity that can power 3 houses. And you're like, okay, why?
Yeah, why? I stuck 2 Yamahas out and I had air conditioning all day long.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like, but hear me out. It's about this big,
Oh man. Okay. So tell me about social media accounts. Our listeners, they need to go check out Vansmith. Where do they find you?
Yeah. So for Instagram is probably our best place to check us out is at _Vansmith. Obviously if you Google the Vansmith, will pop up. Thevansmith.com, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, all those places. But yeah, hop on. We got a fun blog, good newsletter. Yeah.
I went through your blog. You wrote many of those articles recently.
Yeah.
As a blogger myself, I had to look at those and like, wow, you do a great job. They're nice.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm not, it's definitely that's an uphill. That's one I have to put my head down and actually focus on. Those are hard for me.
It's worthwhile.
It is. Yeah.
Anything else you want our listeners to know about you or Vansmith?
No, I mean, Vansmith is an awesome company. It's again, family run, has been, always will be probably. So check it out. go get out. Enjoy. Just go get outside, people.
Yes, you just said it. Go get outside, people. There's our intro. Roberto, thank you very much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate having you. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh, I sure hope you enjoyed hearing about Roberto's amazing story. He brought up 3 very important takeaways today. First, sometimes it's the social connections that are established in business that are more fulfilling than the money. Second, stay focused on your main thing rather than trying to expand into everything that you're not. And lastly, get outside, everybody. You can find more about the Vansmith at thevansmith.com. Thank you all so much for hanging out today and exploring the business of campervans, and I'll see you on the next one.
That's what you do. You solve your own problem in business.
RV Life Pro isn't just a service. It's an all-in-one solution designed to make your RV experience simpler and more enjoyable. From planning your trip with precision to maintaining your RV with ease, we've got you covered every step of the way. Don't just survive the RV lifestyle, thrive in it. Visit rvlife.com to discover more about how RV Life Pro can enhance your journey.